Well, this week I realized some of my records needed new inner sleeves, so I toddled on in to a record store in Toronto and I grabbed a 50-pack of MoFi inner sleeves. And so I thought this week on the channel, I would review those sleeves for you. If you're interested in records, you're thinking about getting into records, you're probably going to have a lot of questions about how inner sleeves work, how to pack up a record. We're going to go over all that today in this video. So if you want to learn all about inner sleeves, if you want to learn all about MoFi inner sleeves, stick with me till the end. But for now, let's get going. So let's say you go to a flea market and you find an excellent record. It's a used record, it's an old record, but it's a really hard to find one and you're really excited you got it. Generally speaking, what you want to do is take it home and clean it up. So if you've never bought records before, you're kind of wondering how they work. A record will come with three main components. There's going to be a cardboard outer jacket. That's going to have the cover art on the front. It's going to probably have the names of the band on the back, and maybe some details about the band and the music, the tracks that are on the record, that kind of thing. The outer jacket is what gives the record its spine so that you can line it up with its friends and be able to see which record is which from the back. Obviously, there's the vinyl record itself, which is inside, and to protect the vinyl record from the outer jacket, which can be a little bit abrasive towards the grooves on the record, there's usually an inner sleeve. Typically from the factory, that inner sleeve is just made of paper, and sadly not always acid-free paper. So it can do a little bit of damage to the record. It really depends on the paper, how it degrades, what kind of humidity it's been in. A paper inner sleeve can degrade and leave little bits of itself on the record. And as I say, they're not always acid-free. So a non-acid-free piece of paper on a piece of vinyl will eventually wear away at it. They also sort of turn yellow and gross and disgusting. It's not very nice. So typically when I buy a new used record, I take it home, I wet clean it, I use a spin clean. I don't know if you saw that video of mine or not about how the spin clean works, but it's worth a look. I'll put a link here for you. And then I dry it. I made a little video about how I dry them as well. Second video for you, here's the link. And then I slide the vinyl record into a brand new inner sleeve before I put it away. MoFi inner sleeves are easily the most popular inner sleeve among record collectors today. Are they the best? That is really contentious. Record collectors are really passionate about their records. You're gonna find a lot of strong opinions about pretty much anything to do with records, but especially about inner sleeves. Having said that, because they're so popular, because they've been around for decades, I think if you're just starting out, checking out the MoFi inner sleeve is probably something you should do. There are problems with the MoFi. We're gonna go over those shortly, but if you're just getting started, it's not a bad place to start. So if you go to the MoFi website, you'll see what they have to say about them. MoFi inner sleeves, according to Mobile Fidelity themselves, are imported 3-ply anti-static premium sleeves similar to rice paper that work with both LPs and laser discs. The back construction consists of a paper layer sandwiched between two sheets of high-density polyethylene HDPE with a translucent HDPE front. Basically, it's a poly bag. And poly is very soft. If you touch the inside of this bag, it's gonna feel really smooth. You're gonna be very confident putting a record into this if you touch the inside. And the poly bag is comprised of a single layer on the front, which you can see through, so you can see your record, you can see the label on the record. The back has 2 layers of poly, and in between those two is sandwiched a piece of paper. That piece of paper is a lot like onion paper. It is not onion paper, apparently, according to MoFi, but it's a lot like it. And the reason it's there is because when you pull the record out, that will help defeat the static charge that otherwise might be incurred by the record. You don't want to charge up your record with a bunch of static. Say you're in the middle of winter, the air is dry, you pull the record out. You don't want to charge it up with a bunch of static just by removing it from the inner sleeve, because that's going to draw all the dust in the air to the record, make it dirty, make it crackle, and then you got to clean it again. One reason MoFi inner sleeves are so popular is because they're gentle enough on the records, they look pretty good, and they're anti-static. The knock on them for me is twofold. One, they're more expensive than the other brands. I'll put an Amazon link in the description below because everybody can get to an Amazon link, but at time of posting this, it's like double the cost on Amazon to buy 50 MoFi inner sleeves when compared with just going into my record store in Toronto and buying them there. I'll also post a link to the MoFi website itself. And if by the time you watch this, the price on Amazon hasn't gone down, maybe consider just getting it direct from MoFi, because I notice it's a lot cheaper. So now you got your record, it's all clean, it's in its brand new inner sleeve. You're kind of wondering what to do next, right? When I was a kid, we carried records the same way we bought them. There was a record inside an inner sleeve. That inner sleeve went into the jacket. The jacket went into an outer sleeve, like a 3mm poly kind of thing that protects the outer jacket from getting scratched, scuffed, or bent. And then you just carried those off to wherever you wanted to go. I was a DJ at my high school. I used to spin records every lunch hour. I'd carry a dozen of them to school, and that's the way I carried them, and it worked. You kind of got to do that if they're going to get jostled around in a backpack or a bag, because the whole purpose of having that outer jacket be cardboard is so that it can protect the record through that kind of action. It's different if you're moving the records in a box that's going to do the protecting for them, or if you're not moving it around at all and it's just staying on a shelf. The accepted method in that case is to take any old inner sleeve, let's say they're liner notes, let's say there's something that you really want to keep, maybe a little booklet that came with the record, slide that into the jacket, put the jacket into an outer sleeve so that the opening of the jacket is to the side, the whole of the outer sleeve is to the top, nothing's going to come sliding out of your outer jacket. Then behind the outer jacket, take the record that you put into the inner sleeve, rotate it 90 degrees so that the hole for the inner sleeve is to the side, not to the top, and slide it in there. That way dust and any debris that might be in the air can't get to the record. The record is behind the jacket. It's not going to wear away at the inside of the jacket, causing the infamous ring wear problem that so many record collectors have. And it's protected. It's not a good idea if you're going to take 10 of those and throw them into a duffel bag and run off to school and spin records for an hour. Don't do that. But if you're going to move them in a controlled manner, like let's say you're throwing them in a U-Haul box to move, okay. Or as I say, if they're just going to live on the shelf and come out one by one and get played and go right back into the outer sleeve, this method works for that too. Either way, I've switched all of my inner sleeves over to the MoFi inner sleeve, and I have only a couple of negative things to say about them. First, they can kind of crinkle inside the jacket, and I don't like that. It's not so bad that I get worried that the crinkles are going to do damage to the grooves on the record, but they can kind of crinkle. It doesn't look as nice, after your 10th time shoving it into the jacket and pulling it out. The other problem is that they're square, which really isn't that much different from the factory paper inner sleeves that came with the record. But as you're trying to slide that into a jacket, it's very easy for the corners to get caught and try to fold under themselves. I hate that. There are inner sleeves that have rounded sides, which are designed to more easily insert into a jacket. I've got a couple of those, they're fine, but for some reason I can't seem to stop using the MoFi. I like having every record the same. It doesn't matter whether it's a punk rock record from the late 70s, a new wave record from the 80s, or Johnny Cash. In my collection, I like that they all have the same inner sleeve, and I know the MoFis do a pretty good job of protecting the record, so they're the brand I trust. Is it right? Is it the best? Well, that's a direction I'm not willing to take this video. But I bet you have some opinions. So what I'd love to do is hear them. There's a comment section below. I'm sure you're aware of that. Feel free to let me know what you do for your records. Do you use the MoFi brand of inner sleeve? Do you use a different inner sleeve? Are you one of those people that doesn't use an inner sleeve at all? You're out there. I've bought your records. I know. So whatever you do, I want to hear all about it. Records are really important to me. Anytime I can encourage someone to listen to some music that wasn't selected for them by an algorithm, I will take that opportunity. Records are a great way to do that. It's something that digital listening doesn't give you. But more on that in another video. Thank you for watching today. I really appreciate that. If you could like or subscribe, I would really appreciate that. And otherwise, as always, take care, stay safe, have fun with your DIY projects, and I'll see you next Saturday.